Unfortunately, I am Superman of Doom. The people of the Motherland have come. Unfortunately, I am Superman of Doomsday Chapter 46. An unknown flying creature that has never been seen before broke through the window. They resembled a trumpet pterosaur, their pitch-black beast pupils kept turning. And they flapped their wings and broke into the inner hunt. Under the cover of white fog, it appeared one after another. With the warnings and roars of the remaining agents. Tap click. Inside the supernatural department, fierce gunfire continued to sound. Muzzle flames continue to emerge in the white mist-filled room, and armed agents fight with flying creatures from the white mist outside. There were flying creatures that were sieved by bullets and fell to the ground. An armed agent was sprayed by a mouthful of black slime, and the protective clothing on his body was constantly corroded and melted when it encountered strong acid. And he was falling to the ground and screaming, and the next moment he was disemboweled by the claws of a creature. The flying creatures from the weird and dense white mist of the outside world seem to be endless, and they are extremely good at hunting in the white mist. Even the armed and protective left-behind agents fell to the ground one after another, surrounded and killed by flying creatures as food. Run away, Eiko, an agent who fell to the ground shouted. The bullets of the gun in the young female detective's hand had been fired, and she saw 3 blood-covered flying creatures flying towards her. Turning around and rushing downstairs with a pale face, and the furniture and lamps that lingered in the white mist behind her were constantly shattered. Phew! Agent Xianxia gasped for breath, making the goggles of the gas mask blurry, coupled with the thick white fog everywhere in the room. The department environment that had been familiar for a week became even stranger than when she first met, making her stumble and run away. So, until you go down the stairs and enter a long, smooth passage that goes inward. Xianxia knew that he had come to the first basement floor, and except for the inspector, no one in the department had the permission to enter here. Eiko wanted to turn back, but found that 3 flying creatures were flying down the stairs, so she could only continue to flee inside. Wait, the door to the basement. How did it open? Chased by the demonic flying creatures in the mist, Eiko raised her eyes, and in the blur, she saw that the door to the basement was open. She gritted her teeth and rushed there. And at the moment when Xianxia desperately rushed to the door, a slender figure just walked out from inside. It was a teenager. The teenager's extremely quick sideways reaction caused Eiko to pounce directly and crash into the inside of the basement. Without hesitation, the boy continued to walk towards the underground corridor leading to the outside world. Be careful, there are monsters. Before Xianxia finished speaking, she stopped abruptly, and her pupils suddenly froze. I saw the silver-haired boy facing the oncoming 3 flying creatures, covered with gray and white bone sheath-like left and right hands lightening out. Holding a flying creature that flew forward with both hands, and then continued to slap forward to the 3rd creature. Boom! Not even a wail was made. Blood exploded in the closed palms of the boy's bones, the heads of the 3 flying creatures were directly flattened, and the white mist that permeated the corridor was dyed a little scarlet. Get it all done. The silver-haired boy threw away the paralyzed corpse of the flying creature, waved his hands vigorously, and threw away all the black venom and mucus blood attached to the gray and white exoskeleton, gloves. You are. Eiko looked at the familiar high school teenager in the corridor outside in amazement. The silver-haired boy turned around, and in the thick white mist, one eye faintly flashed with a red glow of violent destruction, and was quickly covered by a rational and indifferent silver light. He didn't say anything and left directly into the hallway. It wasn't until the other party's figure completely disappeared into the underground corridor where the white mist lingered, that the young female detective Xianxia muttered in shock, "It's him." Quote, "Shelter the intruder, high school student Yimon. 0052 The city has changed dramatically, there really are dragons." Amons exit from the basement of the containment and leave the supernatural department, and the supernatural agents are unable to protect themselves. Even if they are there, no one can stop him. Outside the house, a white mist lingers, covering the entire modern city, blurring everything and presenting only the black shadow of a living thing or an object. Screams, roars, horns, sirens, falling objects, broken windows, and even gunshots. The mournful roar of the entire city clearly reached the inhuman hearing of Meng, who began to tend to the day of destruction. Killing, mysterious, weird, surprised, etc. The atmosphere accompanies the white mist that envelops the city. Meng hung the Yarny doll as a hanging ornament around his waist, and as soon as he walked out of the door of the department, he was exposed to the white fog outside. And he was hunted by several flying creatures in the fog. Who hunts whom? The expression on Meng's face remained unchanged, and the 5 fingers of his right hand were spread straight together. And the entire arm covered with a thin gray and white exoskeleton was like a bone knife. Hands up and down. Meng is like a robot without mistakes, repeating the sharp action of slashing. The speed carries the strong wind of hunting, and a flying creature with its head separated from its head falls. After a while, more than a dozen flying creatures that attacked and killed all fell to the ground. Meng indifferently looked at the other flying creatures that fled and fled, grabbed the deformed corpses of half of the birds and beasts, and wiped all the bloodstains on the exoskeleton of his right hand. "It's really fog," Meng whispered. Seeing this deformed creature with corrosive venom and pterosaur-like, Meng immediately affirmed that this creature in the white mist and white mist originated from Mist. The Mist is a science fiction movie. The movie tells the story of a fog that shrouds the town area due to the experiment of the military base in the town, and there are terrifying creatures from other worlds in the fog. At the moment, this strange bird and beast with corrosive venom is one of the terrifying creatures that appear in the Mist. In addition to this, there are many bigger, stronger and more terrifying creatures, originating from the fog. Among them, there are even mysterious creatures like Cthulhu. This city, I'm afraid it's going to be over. Meng recalled some details and settings in the fog, and although not told in the movie, it can be speculated that the military base experiment caused the space where the town is located to be connected to another Cthulhu-like dimension. Therefore, the fog will gush out, as well as a large number of otherworldly creatures. Now, the situation in Tianhe City and the small town cannot be said to be similar, it can only be said to be exactly the same. Does this mean that the entire city is connected to the invasion dimension from Mist? If it is really the situation that Meng thought, then in the real world, no one can stop this tragedy in Tianhe City. Not even if the motherland is a person. This is an intrusion that can at least be classified as SS. What does this have to do with me? Meng's face was expressionless, and he looked at his left hand, which was also covered with a grey and white exoskeleton. Now, his hands have been clearly assimilated by the Doomsday invasion in the dream. Even, together with the character, Meng felt that he was less and less like a real human being, such as facing the current fog and the monsters in the fog. Without feeling a trace of fear but only the excitement of destroying and killing. This fog reduced the entire city to a hunting ground for creatures in the otherworldly dimension. For Meng, who is being assimilated by the Doomsday invasion, it is a wonderful place of destruction, making him want to enter the fog to find the most powerful existence. And destroy the other party to gain satisfaction. As for the survival of the city, what does it have to do with him? Tifa. Meng suddenly spoke to himself, looking in the direction of the fog-shrouded city center, and a trace of humanity reappeared in his slightly red eyes. In this city, he only cares about one person. Meng quickened his pace towards the city center, and as soon as he picked up his speed, he jumped out like a cheetah, and with each step he could step 3 or 4 meters away. And even run faster and faster in the white fog. Perhaps because his body was contaminated with a large number of Misty Bird's bloody chi, no Misty Bird dared to try to attack him again, and even scattered from a distance when they met him. Hunter reversal. ... Supernatural department, basement level, containment basement. The young female detective Yingzi slumped on the ground, and after 10 seconds, she came back to her senses and gritted her teeth and stood up. Because of seeing Meng, Aiko found that the white mist was not toxic, so she took off the gas mask she was wearing, breathing in the misty air of cold and bloody air. You have to go up and save people. Aiko thought of the other detective colleagues upstairs whose lives and deaths were uncertain, gritted her teeth and got up again, and just as she was about to leave the basement, a faint sound suddenly came from the unoccupied basement. She looked back. That's the trumpet. ... In the fog, Meng traveled faster and faster through the city, reaching the normal speed of a car, accompanied by a clear cracking sound. And the canvas shoes he was wearing on his feet were directly cracked by himself. Together with the cement pavement, a shallow footprint was also cracked. Meng looked down and saw the soles of his feet, and the bulging muscles and joints also showed a layer of hard grey-white bone. The fog of killing intensifies the desire for self-destruction, which also accelerates the invasion assimilation of Doomsday. Meng realized that if this continues, in less than 3 days, he will completely lose control and become the day of destruction. Under such invasion assimilation, he scanned the surroundings, his eyes attached a faint redness, and his vision began to become clearer. Even under the fog of extremely low visibility, you can clearly see things 100 meters away.